Support WrestleTalk!
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Reactive News. I am Randy Annie Datson. This is Tempest. He is the champion of everything in the world. And Chris Jericho is the Ring of Honor champion. And do you know who faced him this past week?
Who's that?
Colt Cabana.
Wow, I did know that. I was just
Did
letting
you?
you. I was
Oh
just setting
man,
you up.
I should have known because you like watching wrestling, don't you?
I do, and I was really happy to see Colt Cabana back. But why was he back?
Well, it turns out it's basically to make everyone happy because, like you said, you were happy.
It's a pretty
I
good
was
reason.
happy. Pete was happy. Ollie was furious. Luke was happy. And Adam was absolutely thrilled to see him back. And it turns out the entire locker room is as well. So this is a new report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter today, which came out with Dave Meltzer saying, whatever it was Tony Khan's idea. We were told that it was more for the locker room than anything else. That having Cabana on the show and given a positive spotlight after months of being ostracized for reasons that had nothing to do with him was a dressing room morale booster since he had many friends there. What are your initial thoughts on that?
My initial thoughts are positive. Obviously, this was a move here made to boost the locker room, and AEW has kind of had this black cloud following it for the entire year, basically. There's been one wrong turn after another for the promotion, so it's really nice to see moves being made for the sake of improving morale. Obviously, we've had moves since All Out where we've had locker room leaders come together, have locker room meetings that's said to be a real boost, but this is another step taken by the promoter himself to try and increase the level of positivity in the locker room, and I think that is a good thing.
I think it can only be a good thing as well because, like you say, AEW has felt like a worse place to work in recent weeks and months. For a long time, AEW was seen as this sort of shining beacon of light of, wow, this is where everyone wants to work. Everyone loves each other. They're all great friends. And then we've had all this CM Punk stuff where we've gone not just, oh, okay, well, he wasn't great to work with, but then there are all these other stuffs coming out going, oh, well, actually, everyone's having a fight with all the Sammy Guevara stuff, the Eddie Kingston stuff. Everyone's beating each other up backstage. And so to have a morale booster, even if it's might be seen as a bit fickle and a bit kind of opportunistic, like, oh, look, we're using this guy again, I think it can only be a good thing. Now, Dave Meltzer mentioned the whole point of being like ostracized. It has felt a lot like Cabana's been kind of blamed for all of this. Not sort of directly, no one's come out and gone, this is all Colt Cabana's fault, he's not on TV because he's done something wrong. However, the way that it's been kind of sort of read by the wrestling community as a whole is, Colt Cabana's off TV, and he hasn't been on TV for a whole year. This is his first match for 12 months. The last time he had a match was last November against Bryan Danielson. And for him, it must be just a massive relief.
I would like to think so. I don't want to put words or thoughts in Colt Cabana's mouth and head, but having him back on TV, I think is only a good thing for his career, obviously, because obviously we've seen him reportedly move to the Ring of Honor side of things, but that doesn't really work as an alternative because there aren't Ring of Honor shows being run regularly, only the 2 pay-per-views that we've seen so far this year. So without him being on TV, a move back to TV is only a positive thing for him, and he's been a class act through all of this. He has been totally removed from all of the drama. He hasn't gone out on Twitter, hasn't gone out on a podcast and given his side of things and stirred the pot. He has been quiet, he has been respectful, and I think that is going to pay off in the long run from at least the level-headed fans and the people in the locker room.
And obviously Meltzer writes that it was a move for the locker room. It was a morale booster, but I think a lot of people still are kind of caught up on this whole, well, CM Punk's gone and now they've suddenly brought him back in. I think a lot of people are a bit more kind of less trusting of Tony Khan's intentions here because it is coincidental, and it's more than coincidental. It's almost certainly part of the reason that he's been allowed back on TV. And there was a suggestion that maybe Chris Jericho had a lot of sway in bringing Colt Cabana back as well. And there was a report from Fightful Select this week, so immediately after Colt Cabana came back, and they said there was a natural inquisition as to it possibly reinforcing the long-standing rumor that Cabana was removed from television because of CM Punk, whether that was directly requested by Punk or not, which Punk vehemently denied. Now, Punk has, on several occasions said, look, I have never ever told them not to book Colt Cabana. However, it feels like despite him maybe not saying anything, his influence has still been felt throughout the locker room, throughout the corridors of AEW, and even in Tony Khan. And that's a massive problem for me, which is the guy who is supposed to be running the company, the guy who should have the most sway and the most influence, is almost scared of upsetting his big stars. And I think if you're running a company like a WWE or an AEW, you can't be scared of upsetting people.
So there are a lot of angles to this. Yes, I do not believe that CM Punk ever went to Tony Khan and said, hey, do not book this man. However, we can say that CM Punk is still very clearly upset about the whole Colt Cabana situation, given what happened at All Out, given how upset he got over Hangman Page's promo earlier this year. And so with that in mind, I can absolutely believe that Tony Khan would take the measures to separate them and keep Colt Cabana off TV. Now, where I start to lose the focus of all of this a little bit is that yes, you can do that and try and preemptively keep an incident from happening here. That is then on you. That is a decision that you made. Whereas if you, as a boss, put both of these guys in the same backstage area, kept apart, obviously, I'm not saying they need to dress together, but if you keep them both in the same promotion, coming to TV the same time, and something happens, that's then on them. That is their decision that they made, and then you as a boss can then step in. You as a boss instead made this decision preemptively and took Colt Cabana off TV despite him not doing anything wrong. And that is where I feel like Colt Cabana has kind of maybe not been punished for all of this, but definitely had any sort of momentum, any sort of sway and popularity that he may have had on TV absolutely taken away just because CM Punk was there. And that's not a decision that Punk made, but it is Punk's influence being felt and a promoter not wanting to rock the boat between them.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that Tony Khan sort of...
Allegedly. It's
not the first time that Tony Khan's sort of management style has come under scrutiny from the kind of wider wrestling community. However, I am going to try and be as positive as I can be. I'm going to sort of look at this as, CM Punk's disappearance from AEW is likely contributed in a massive sort of amount to Colt Cabana coming back. However, Colt Cabana is now back.
Yes.
And hopefully he's back on screens a lot more. He is a very popular character in AEW. He's a very popular character with fans. I'm not saying he needs to be pushed loads now. Look, they're not going to go out and go, look, we've got rid of CM Punk. We're going to immediately replace him with Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana, at this point in his career, is not a main event star. He can have these matches with Chris Jericho. He can have sort of exhibition matches because people really like seeing him. But how would you feel, even if you're happy to be back, and I'm really happy he's back, I'm trying to focus on that, but how would you feel if you yourself were Colt Cabana in this situation where your boss has essentially almost cowered in the face of a bigger star and has chosen him over you consistently for a year and has only brought you back to TV when that guy's gone?
Well, I want to immediately say that I'm not Colt Cabana. Everything that's happened... I know, shocker, right?
Oh, he's not.
Yeah, we both like peanut butter and pickle sandwiches, but that is where the difference is, or that's where our similarities stop. I don't want to put words or thoughts in Colt Cabana's mouth and mine, because I will never go through what Colt Cabana went through the last 8 years. This whole relationship and the dissolving of the relationship between Colt Cabana and CM Punk is something that I have not experienced and therefore cannot directly relate to. But if it was just me, I would not be able to help but be frustrated by this situation a little bit. Being someone who loves wrestling, is good at wrestling, and can be an asset to the television promotion or television program of AEW, one way or another, to just not be on TV for a year. This isn't just a couple months while we figure something out. This is a year, a long, long time. And he was there first. Yes. Colt Cabana was signed to AEW in February of 2020, long before CM Punk arrived.
A year and a half.
A year and a half before CM Punk got there. So you would think that that time spent in AEW would maybe give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit and allow him to continue to be on television. And for that to not happen, I would be frustrated personally. But of course, I don't want to project that upon Colt Cabana at all.
I want to project on Colt Cabana. So obviously being signed to an AEW is better than if you want to like wrestle outside of or in the indies. It is much better than wrestling for WWE because they are a lot more kind of allowing of that kind of thing. However, you can bet all of your money on the fact that if he wasn't signed to AEW right now, he would have wrestled so much more in the last year. Like, he hasn't had that many matches in the last 12 months, and he is someone who would want to have been wrestling several days a week because that's how the wrestlers love doing. They love wrestling. That's the whole point. So I can imagine that he's incredibly frustrated. Fightful Select had another report, basically just supporting this sort of joy from the locker room that everyone is happy to see him back. They wrote the dozen or so talent that Fightful heard back from regarding the November to AEW Dynamite were in support of Colt Cabana being back in the field. And obviously Colt Cabana was likely frustrated, but his colleagues were also frustrated. It's like all of this, you can kind of read between the lines. It doesn't take a genius to go, oh, well, they're all really happy. That means they were unhappy before that because you can't...
yeah. We've had plenty of reports of when Colt Cabana's contract status was coming into play earlier this year, and there were rumors that he just wasn't going to be part of the company anymore, and there was outrage backstage over that because, again, Colt Cabana's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
There's no reason to not keep Colt Cabana in the company, so to have him back, yeah, I can believe that people will be happy and now will no longer be upset at the treatment of their friend.
Yeah, and because, like... not every wrestler in the locker room has to be there because they are the world's greatest wrestler. There are some who will be wrestling, but there are also those who will wrestle and are have a massive impact on just the general company morale. And Colt Cabana is clearly one of those guys. But obviously, the Colt Cabana stuff is great. But this again is going to lead to the discussion about CM Punk joining WWE because everyone's like, oh, Colt Cabana's back. That means CM Punk's definitely gone. And there was another report from WrestleVotes who tweeted immediately afterwards saying Colt Cabana showing up on Dynamite last night didn't go unnoticed in Stamford, which is obviously where the WWE headquarters is. That's all I'll say right now. Fightful Select have also kind of backed this up, that there was chatter and definitely people within WWE who have gone, oh, that's interesting because CM Punk is probably not going back to AEW, and there has definitely been talk of bringing him into WWE. It is really the only company who could afford him on a full-time basis. There might be a couple who could maybe splash out on a one-time thing, have him back, but if you want to sign CM Punk, you can only really be WWE.
Yep.
And there have been some reports this week which say CM Punk is done. He's never going back. And there have been other reports which say, no, I reckon he's going back. So we really, really don't know. But if he's going to go back, it'll be WWE. Give me your 10-second thoughts on a CM Punk back in WWE right now.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think the relationship between Punk and Triple H is going to be reparable at this point. I know that there have been reports that Triple H doesn't like Punk, but also looks at this from a business standpoint and will just go out there and make the biggest splash possible because that would be a really big business move. But I can't see it happening.
Bring CM Punk into WWE, but then because Triple H doesn't like him, Triple H will be kept off TV because Punk's the biggest star. And with that, That is all we've got time for in this reactive news. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the WrestleTalk news channel, the WrestleTalk podcast channel, Parts of Unknown, No Rolls Barred. Head over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk for lots of extra content, and head over to WrestleTalk.com for all the latest wrestling news and features. But for now, I have been Randy Andy Datson. That has been
Your Jam That Champion, Tempest.
And that was reactive news.
Go watch Survival Series on PFK.